welcome to the 2023 Fashion Eye Special Edition. My name is Christian Nzaramba, and today we are at the studio joined by the beautiful audience, the one and only from IPRC fashion students. How are you doing, guys? Yeah, give it up for yourself for being here. Yes, and for those who don't know, we have a fashion school in Rwanda. IPRC students are going to be joining us to this special edition, this special occasion here, celebrating fashion, the growth of fashion. And I'm also joined in the studio by the beautiful panelists from all over the place. We're going to be joined by Uwase Arlette, a fashion
author.
Yes,
Researcher.
A fashion author, a curator of one of the books, Visuals of Tradition. Yes, the one that I have here. How are you doing, Uwase?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm very happy to be here.
Yes, this is your book. I'm going to be talking about it
Yeah.
today and going into details to get to know more about you. We are also joined by, one of the biggest brand that we have in Rwanda right now, Asante Haute Biserbe. Am I saying your name really good?
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Definitely.
Good.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Yes, Asante is one of the brands that came this year, and you have had such a great success. Hope we're going to be getting into that today and get to know more about your brand. Yes, we're also joined by Maurice Mateo, one of the brands here in Rwanda, promising young designer, Maurice Mateo from Mateo Studios.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Great.
Yes, it's good to have you here today in Fashion Eye. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's been a while.
Yes, it's been a
It's
while.
been a
So
minute.
we are going to be catching up everything.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So starting off with our show today, as I told you, we have a full show lined up for you guys. We have a performer, Malan Manzi, going to be performing today. We also have fashion students going to be showcasing their collections. We also have designers that are here. Asante going to be showcasing also their collection, talking about it also. We're also going to be, Mateo, are you ready to showcase your collection?
Yeah, more than ready.
Definitely. We are joined by some of the designers that are not here today, as Rutozi Gakondo showcasing here in our studio. We also have Kezem behind us. We also have Asante, and I'm also joined by one of the young artists in Rwanda, Family Love. As you can see, the place is all decorated. So I'm telling you, it's going to be an amazing show. All of these paintings and artwork that you're seeing behind us is all from Family Love. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Starting off with Uwase, we would love to get to know you. Tell us a little bit about yourself before we go into the whole book thing.
Yeah.
Yes, for our audience, the fashion lovers that are watching us right now, tell us a little bit about yourself before we go into the book stuff. Yes.
So my name is Uwase. I am 22 years old. I've been studying global challenges for a while, graduating. And I am a fashion researcher / curator / writer. I do a lot of work in research when it comes to African fashion in general. I'm also a fellow at the Council of International African Fashion Education, a research fellow, which is where the project sort of made sense. Yeah, I am also a bunch of things. I've worked in comms and marketing for a while too, so a lot of people might know me on that. And I do a little bit of TikTok shenanigans, so people might also know me from that or familiar. My face might be familiar from that.
Yes.
So yeah.
Definitely. Yes, as I said before, we are also joined by the project manager of Asante Haute Biserbe. Before we go into the crazy fashion talks and everything, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you?
Well, am I or with Asante?
No, who are you? We want to know you, yes.
Well, I'm Haute Biserbe and I have a background, let's say, in fashion industry, but most precisely in luxury sector. So I come of a background where I did an MBA in Paris towards luxury management and communication. Had some experience in watchmaking and jewelry. Highly passionate actually about jewelry.
Yes.
And I came back in Rwanda in 2019 and started to work with Asante, with our wonderful CEO Maryse Mbonyimutwa for a year now. So it's been a year with Asante.
Definitely. Mateo, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name's Maurice Nijena,
Yes.
but well, known as Mateo.
Yes.
I'm 22 years old. Of course, I'm founder of Mateo Studio. It's a fashion brand emerging, fashion brand, if I may say, which is based here in Kigali. And yeah, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Getting to the questions and starting off our panel discussion, I would love to start with the book. What inspired you to be a fashion writer, Especially, do you have, you talked about it, most of the things that you came about is like communication and the places you have been working, but how did your journey in fashion begin for you to, go all the way and start like writing about fashion?
I think I've always been a fan of style and fashion in general. Then it really cemented in around 2017, 2018 when I came across Black fashion Twitter, but they call the whole community fashion Twitter, and it's a community that is very analytic of the fashion space. They really go into the culture of fashion, and they have provided some of my favorite authors I have known through fashion Twitter, and so I came into that space through fashion Twitter writers, and then later on I realized as I was reading and doing the analysis and what's not, the usual path, the common path is to be a designer, which is great because, we have to have the creatives, but I was more interested in the analytical part and the culture part than the design part. So I started reading about fashion, I started reading academic papers, books, etc. But I noticed a huge gap in documentation around African fashion, which is how I came to be interested about what exists currently as documents about African fashion and African fashion histories. Then when I was starting at ALU, so for those who don't know about ALU, we are a missions not majors type of school. So you don't center your studying around your major. So your whole curriculum and your whole journey is about your mission. So I had to find a mission, and I went into fashion because that's something that was not being talked about in Africa or in Rwanda. That is a very niche sector. So I went into fashion, and my mission was, my challenge was education, so fashion education, more specifically in research. So I started to write and to find what the gaps are. I produced even an academic paper around what inspires fashion designers in Rwanda. And then I entered, and then my last year at ALU, you have to do a capstone project. So you either choose a research pathway or a product pathway. At first, I wanted to go into research because that's my comfort zone, but my facilitator always pushing me. He said, make a book. Getting it, for me, it was a challenge that was impossible. I did this in literally 4 months. So you can see that it was really,
and that
really
shows
tough.
this is not for math.
No, I do not sleep. I have not slept. Shout out to Rwandan Coffee for getting me through it.
For helping you out?
Yes, for getting me through it. So for me, so the idea was write a book about Rwandan fashion, but I couldn't write about Rwandan fashion without going into the founding elements, the patterns, the history, and so I was like, okay, what's it? We're gonna write a book documenting the evolution of Rwandan fashion. But I went more specifically with body adornment and dress practices because when a lot of times you bring fashion, people do not understand hairstyles. They do not consider hairstyles as part of this conundrum of
You
fashion
wanted
studies.
everything to come
Yes,
together.
I wanted us to really document all these things that are not talked about. Like for example, so one of the things that I found out doing my research is that Rwandans have their own version of dreadlocks, and that's not something you learn about, especially as dreadlocks in our society are a bit looked down upon. So that's one thing I wanted to do with the book, and so I called it Tracing the Evolution of Body Adornment and Dress. So people can understand that you will see accessories, you will see hair, you will see dress, you will see everything about Rwandan fashion. So it goes from ancient practices to contemporary adaptations. I talk about traditional patterns, I talk about their names because everyone loves to see imigongo, but they don't actually know what the names of the specific patterns are, their variations. I got this knowledge from a book that was produced by the Institute of National Museums. It documents all the patterns in Rwandan history. So yeah, that's how the book came about. Yes. At first, I wanted to create a resource for myself. It even now, I think it's apparent because people ask, where can we get the book? And I'm like, guys, let's chill a little bit. I haven't published it yet. Like, it's not out for print and for sale, because at first it was really a passion project. I wanted to create a resource that I, as an African fashion researcher, I could use. So we have a lot of books already available on the market, but none of them really go into specific countries. They're
like,
all,
yes, I understand.
yes, they're very general, like African fashion, African textiles, African patterns. But I guess with this book, I hope to inspire other researchers from other countries, other fashion researchers from other countries, to create books about their own countries and the multitude of fashion cultures that are there.
Yeah, I think now that we have fashion students that are joining us from IPRC, this is really an interesting book for you guys. I think it will help you guys to know some of the motifs and our tradition symbols that you can actually use in your designing processes. And we'll talk about it. I will ask you questions on this book. But before we go into those questions, I would love to know, tell us a little bit about Asante. You know, I know we had a conversation before, an interview before, but for those who didn't watch that show, tell us a little bit, what is Asante? You know, go into those details. Tell us what's your mission, what are your goals. So I love something about you guys on the way you can't take on fashion. You have different designers. You talk about it later. You have different designers come together and designing, but. You know, tell us a little bit about Asante.
Asante. So Asante is a Pan-African brand. So we are made in Rwanda, but we work with a consortium of 14 different designers coming from 12 different countries of Africa. One of them is also a Rwandan. Her name is Tony Grace. She also has her own brand. All of those 14 different designers have individually their own brands. So let's say that they built the collection of Asante with our artistic director, because you can only imagine that coming from 12 different countries of Africa, the inspiration and the creativity that we have, the collection would be like very wild if it was not, if the director actually didn't set up a line. So this is how the creative part, let's say, were built. The selection has been done with pretty much very organically, let's say. We have very strong figures where they're very dedicated to certain cause. For example, we have Chloe from Ghana, who's very dedicated into upcycling the clothes, or upcycling how do we protect our environment? Because as we know, fashion industry creates lots of waste, and we need to think differently in order to keep our industry growing. So Asante mission and vision actually is to make sure that we provide a platform for the designers to grow and to upscale. Because as we always say, in Africa we have everything. Like, we have the raw materials, we have the youth, we have the creativity. What we are profoundly lacking is those technical skills and infrastructure that will allow those designers to grow and to go worldwide. Because there is, as Marie's always said, and also different actors from the sector, when you think about some brands, for example, you talk about H&M, you talk about Zara, you know, those big brands, you know that they're going worldwide, internationally. And they're all coming from Europe or US, right? But we don't have that one African brand that you know that is completely worldwide, international, that is coming from Africa. So we want to be that platform, if not Asante, just that will allow this brand to just grow and then to go worldwide. So Asante is a proof of concept of what we're capable to do on the continent with local, like 80%, for example, of our fabrics are coming from the continent. We work with local artisan craftsmanships. Everything is coming from here. So this is the vision of Asante.
Yeah, definitely say it. So I think when we see, one of the things that I love from you guys is that you have a factory, one of the biggest factories that we have in Rwanda, doing fashion, and you have been exporting. And your materials, which is really good, an interesting one from a fashion house. So hope you guys grow, and become that fashion brand that you want to be. Mateo, tell us about yourself, because we heard from Wase, her background in fashion and everything, but also from Oud. Tell us, how did Mateo Studio come about, you know?
So, like Wase said, actually, it all starts by fashion. I mean, passion.
Yes.
You feel like I want to do this because I love it. It makes me happy, and the more you go for it, the more you realize it's not, only about passion. It's about your life. So, back in years, it started. I was in high school, and it always has been hard, for me to, because I wasn't a sport, guy, and in high school you have to at least do something.
Do something.
You're doing something, and
Yeah, we get you. We know what.
yeah, and I was like, okay, so I need to do something, which shows that you don't have to do things because others does it. You can do something because you want to do it. So I started an agency, a modeling agency in the school, and then, I could always, I had to be a model also, but always style the models. So in a way that I would like tell them,
Somebody could
put
have said,
yeah,
when
put
you're
this,
talking
put
about
this on,
modeling,
put this on,
that's
things
not
like
you.
that.
You modeling, that's not you. Definitely.
Yeah, it's not me, I know. But yeah, so I was more like, styling them for the show. And always when I styled them, all the people, they were like, oh, wow, you look nice, things like that. And then one day I said, why can't I, now start to create clothes? Because I could tell them to go look for these pants, look for this jacket, and they couldn't find it. And I was like, if I create them, I will be able to get something that I can dress them. And so that's how I started actually making dresses, I mean clothes. And then when I started, my family, my, people around me, they were like, we didn't know that you can do this. So they started, encouraging me. Some of them, told me to make stuff for them. And I was like, until I realized that I can take it, out of just my room, my home, and, put it out, to the whole community. So that's how I started. So I had to teach myself everything because I've always, I wanted to be better. So I had to find a way that I could, we didn't have a fashion school back in years. And I was like, how am I gonna do it? I had to teach, everything for myself and learn from the established designers that we had here, learn how things, are done, how to be better, and have set a vision for myself and my brand, of course. And I think that's literally how I can say I now came to the point of, creating a brand after, yeah.
I think now the fashion students really understand that you guys are really lucky to be having a fashion school that you go through and study, fashion. These guys didn't have the opportunity. Uwase, how has the incorporation of fashion, Rwandan elements into fashion, how do you think really contributing the success of our fashion industry? Because some designers really fear, I'm like, oh my God, if maybe I use these kind of motifs, or maybe if I use this, I might not have the success on an international scene. How do you think they incorporate, because you kind of talked about it in your book, the evolution of from where we are now to, where we came from. How do you think the evolution and the elements and everything that we have in Rwanda, our traditional things that we have, really, contribute to the fashion success in Rwanda?
See, for example, what you're wearing is from Izuba, and I talked with Elodie about how she has even adapted these different patterns in her work and has even mixed them with other patterns. I think it makes it first recognizable, this is made in Rwanda, and we have even these shirts. We even have these shirts that are very recognizable. We call them the Made in Rwanda shirts. If you go to the market, you will know exactly, the vendors will know exactly what you're looking for. So I think the one thing is that it's just recognizable. It's the brand of fashion in Rwanda. imigongo, the patterns. But I also think it depends on how the designer uses them. Because if you're just going to recreate what already exists, there is really not a unique value proposition to your clothing. But I really love to see designers invent their own or come up with their own ways of using the patterns. I was talking about Elodie and how, for example, there's this pants that she makes. They're called the Ibaba pants, and it's a mélange, or it's a mix of the Ibaba pattern and another zebra pattern. So that's exactly what like Rwandan designers are trying to do. But I also think it comes from a place of being proud of your cultural heritage or wanting to push your cultural heritage, which is a theme that is occurrent all over the continent and not just Rwanda. And Rwanda has such a rich history in decorative material and geometric patterns and just decoration in general. So why not incorporate it? I think it just makes it, you know that it's Rwanda when you see it, when you see the patterns on clothing.
Yes, that's really amazing. I want to know, what's your take on Rwandan elements? When you take a look at Santa and what you do, because as you talked about it, it's come from a place of like being proud of your, your culture and heritage and everything. Where do you guys stand in terms of Santa? How are you really, approaching Rwandan elements?
The Rwandan elements, first of all, was of course to include in the consortium of the designer, a Rwandan designer. So actually what I'm wearing is also made of design, by Tony Grace. After that, the second point is in terms of productions. So when I say production, it is everything is made in Rwanda, and then we are trying to fill the gap in terms of quality. And then what you're talking about, the creativity, and that it's great, but how do you actually push that to make sure that the product that you're imagining and then designing is coming to reality in a quality level that is able to be exported?
Yes.
And then let's say tick the boxes for international markets. So this is where we're trying to push actually the industry in Rwanda to make sure that we reach that level. So we are doing a lot of training programs actually to around technical aspects.
Yes. I want to, before we conclude this conversation, I want Mateo to tell us on your take also. But for you, if everybody, I don't know, everybody watches and goes to fashion shows, you have been really having a success in Rwanda, doing your collections and when you showcase. Tell us
what
a
I'm
little
trying to.
Yes, definitely. Tell us a little bit on your side. Where do you stand, in fashion, with all of the success you have been having this year, the designs that you have been creating, all of the love that comes from people that work with you? How do you feel about such success?
Well, as an emerging creator, it's so good and so satisfying to see that now you are finally able to, bring something to life which is appreciated by the people who you are giving it to, and it's really, I can say, well, I'm very much happy by the journey that I went through and where I am right now, and like as you asked, I'm trying to be specific in what I'm creating. Well, I can say that I'm trying to be an haute couture, a couturier, if I may say. But again, there's a steps. She knows because she went to school, but I didn't, which is what I'm trying to do to like make sure that I have what it takes to be called an haute couture designer. Even though it's a dream, and I'm trying to, I'm going through that journey to get there, but that's where I stand when it comes to where my brand is. Yeah.
Definitely. We're going to be seeing some of your collections.
It starts there. It's completely starts there.
We're going to be seeing some of your collections and you guys, and we're going to be joined by the fashion students from IPRS. Are going to be also showcasing some of your the artistic work that you have made this year, and they're going to be asking you questions. Just question to get to know more about you guys and what your brand. And so continuing about the visuals of traditions, I think you have to put it out for people to buy it because this is an interesting one.
Trust me, people are pressuring me.
Yes,
so I
you
can
have
feel
to.
the
So for the fashion students, please go check out Uwase and put some pressure on her to release this book. I think this would actually help you guys, for your school and also for your work. As I just said, we have a full show lined up for you guys. We are joined by the fashion students from IPRC Kigali. As I said, many people don't know that we have a fashion class in Rwanda, maybe a fashion school, but these people are doing a lot. We're going to be seeing some of their collections today, and we want you guys to ask some questions to our panelists, because we talked a lot. They introduced their brands, they talked about their journey. Awase talked about the book, a fashion book, the visuals of tradition, but I want you guys, if somebody has a question in public, to take the microphone and ask. They're going to be answering in few words, and then we're going to be getting, I want you guys to learn from when you finish the show today, take home some great package that's going to be inspiring you in your journey as fashion designers. And I know you want to be fashion designers in future. So please, who has the microphone? Who's going to be the first? Yes, tell us. Start with your name. Yes, if it's the class you are in, tell us.
Thank you. My name is Gatesi Ganza. I'm a student of fashion design in IPRC Kigali. My question is, how can emerging designers navigate the cooperative landscape of the fashion industry and make a meaningful impact?
Yes, how can emerging designers, make a meaningful impact? Because they're starting out, they want to create their own brands. I want to know, starting off with Ud, tell us a little bit about that.
I think, first of all, by creating your own brand and certainly hiring one or two operators or workers for you, you are already doing an impact. You are already part of this ecosystem. So now the next step will be how, and I guess that's your question when you ask about meaning, like how to make what's the purpose of it and how you're going to do this. And I think you have to be more aware about the sustainability of every action and every decision that you will take for your company and for the direction of your brand. So when you choose a supplier, when you choose process on your production line or even your process of designing, how is that going to be sustainable for the company in 5 years, 10 years? So I think that's the impact will be created when you look beyond just the result of an immediate close, but look forward, look for the future, and there you're going to create great impact.
Yes, definitely. So as I just said, from the break, I'm going to be hearing from the students. So I want you guys to, I want the viewers to get to know about this school. I think many people have this perception that we don't have a fashion school in Rwanda, but we definitely do. And these guys are doing amazing work. You guys would stand up and get the microphone and tell us a little bit about IPRS Kigali, the fashion class. What are you studying? Are we ready to see some promising fashion designers in future? Tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you. My name is Milandra Ingabire, and I am a second-year student at IPRC Kigali, and I'm happy to be promoted to the next year. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so at IPRC Kigali, this program of fashion design is actually the hands-on program. That means that we do everything. Most of the courses are practical, so that every student know how to do it practically without knowing how to do them theoretically. So this is a good thing that we are having at school. So about the things that we learn at school, there are a lot, because we have many modules that we learn at school, but we are thankful that we have good lecturers that go with us through these courses so that we are able to get what they are teaching us. So at school, normally most of the students, for example, when you are coming to school, sometimes you may think that I will be designing every time. I will be like creating something, but at school it is different. You know, we learn from like how you do the research, as we were talking about it earlier, and we learn how you can like generate ideas from those resources that you were searching from, and also we learn how you can now like arrange those ideas in a good manner so that it doesn't become a vague thing. So this is where we create like a concept board, and then from there we learn that having that concept, now you're going like to come up with something that is more captivating you than everything that you had in mind. And after that, like you now come to the point that you are now going to sketch, you know, the most interesting part of the most students. So we put our ideas down doing the sketches. After sketching, now we go to do the pattern making. The pattern making, now we can like show what we have created, you know. So after sketching those things that we had in mind, so we create something that we call a collection, which means that we have more than one garment that
That's interesting.
yeah. So it's like a process. So from that, we don't like learn how to design only, or how you can like produce a garment from the idea to the final product. We also learn different courses, like how you can now live well, like the social modules or social courses, how you can now live well or work well with the people that you are working with at work, because you are not alone. And also we learn how you can like work with the models. You want to showcase your designs, you want to tell people or show people what you are doing. So this is where we learn how you can work with those models. And we learn also how you can create your fashion show, how you can produce it from the beginning up to the last. So it's like we go through all the processes that may help us like show people what we're capable of doing. So apart from that, like apart from classes, we now have the industrial attachment. This is where now what we have learned from school, we are going to go to practice them into the companies of factories, so that we may also show them what we are capable of doing, so that if they are going to hire, they will start from us, you know. It's very interesting. And also we are going to learn from them, because sometimes you may be learning in class, but you may like have some curious questions or something that you want to know apart from the classes. It's your time that to ask them, to learn more, to know also how you can live with them. So it's really amazing at school.
That's really interesting. That's really good. Mateo, how does it feel to hear all the packages getting from school? If that I know you didn't go have the opportunity to have like to study fashion, but you are at a good place doing amazing. I want to know, are you not jealous?
Well, I'm not jealous. I'm happy because they're not suffering as much as we did. The people because we didn't have people, to guide us, to tell us, this is done like this, like this. The only thing that I had was, tailors, the people who could teach me how to, to sew. And it always, ended on the, sewing machine. But looking at them, and you can see that we have a promising future in our fashion industry, because it means, let's say in 5 or 10 years, we will be now having people who, are doing things because they will be having enough skills, and that we didn't have. So I'm not jealous. I'm happy for them. And
what do you want people to take from this book? Yeah, before we get to an end, this is one of the, I think it's really huge. The packaging and everything, the content that is from this book. I feel like students should really learn a lot with this book. What do you want them to take away?
Let me start with you guys. I want you to look at what has come before you. That's why I created the book, for you to look at even other designers in Rwanda, but not just Rwanda. I want you to look outside of Rwanda, but I want this to be inspiration for you. I want you to look at your history and to look at even the ways that people dressed in the past, because imishanana, even though they're now the national traditional attire, imishanana came after so many things were already there in Rwanda. So that's what I want people to take from the book. And I'm going to add onto what they said with being a fashion designer. You cannot be, your impact will come with how adaptive you are with the times. Right now, for example, sustainability is a huge thing. So that is something you have to learn a lot about. Inclusivity. Because we love to see, I mean, I'm going to call you out. We had models here, but we don't have models of different sizes. So that's something that is, you're the one to blame. But that's something you have to, yes, that's something you have to look at as emerging designers, you know, but also you are there to disrupt the industry. If you just come and you fit in, nobody's gonna notice you. You know, you might get all the support from Visit Rwanda and guests that are coming in, but if you cannot significantly like identify yourself or differentiate yourself from other works that are available, you will not be able to now sustain your brand or sustain your work. And learn from people. Don't be afraid to intern and even approach the designers that you see on social media and be like, okay, I want to learn from you. I love your vision. And also establish a vision. Establish what you want your brand to look like. And learn a lot. Research a lot. That is one thing I love to talk about with designers. Research a lot. Look at the work that has come before you, the work that is happening right now. And yeah, visuals of tradition. And I also want people to create their own, because this is not the last edition of the book. Fashion is always being recreated, so you might be the next designers in the book. Yeah.
Definitely. I want to know, how did you bring together all the designers that are in this book?
Oh
Such
my
a
gosh.
hard work.
Again, shout out to Rwandan Coffee for getting me through it.
Yes.
So I really talked to different designers. I already had some connections because I had done previous academic work and interviewed designers. But I really just reached out to them and told them about the idea of the book. A lot of them were very excited to feature in here. So obviously this is a continuous project. So I'm going to approach Matteo after this. And so, yeah, so it's just, I just reached out. You just reach out and like, that's what I'm saying to you. You have to shoot your shot. Nobody's going to shoot it for you. Yeah.
So ending our panel and the whole show, you know, this was such a beautiful one, bringing together all these people from the IPRC Kigali students to the designers that came to showcase here. From this beautiful collection, you have Urutozi Gakondo, we also have Asante, also have Kezem, you know, the beautiful artist that put together the whole beautiful artwork that you are seeing around the studio from Family Love, the beautiful artist. Did you love the paints?
I love it.
It's really amazing. So I want us to close the show, but some of the highlights that happened for you this year. I think for you, it's definitely the book, but also Asante, you just showcased, I think, a collection in Ethiopia.
Exactly.
Yes. Matteo,
Right.
the work is amazing. But I want you guys to tell us a little bit about closing this conversation, some of the highlights and what people should expect from you guys. Starting Owase, start. Yes.
What people should expect from me? First, the book to be launched, because trust me, I have heard and I have felt the pressure. I guess also more interactions with designers in Rwanda. I don't want to end with visuals of tradition. I want to have more documentation of designers in this country and other fashion works
Definitely.
around.
Yes, Asante, Oud.
The main highlights of this year, I think, was the fact that we were published in Vogue magazine as the top.
Wow! Congratulations to that.
Yeah, that was impressive. And so, as you said, we've launched Abidjan, we've launched Accra, we've launched. So everything mainly happened this year. So we're very grateful for all of the work that the team set up, the designer, the workers.
Something we talked about when I came here.
Yeah, and I was going, because last time I
Okay,
almost
I
forgot,
thought I wanted
not
to
this
forget
time,
about that.
Christian. I'm not going to forget this time. So we're coming up with the men's collection
Yes.
in 2024.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the,
Congratulations to
that's the upcoming step. Yeah.
I've been like saying, what if?
Yeah, we're
Now,
coming,
yeah,
we're
it's
coming. We
happening.
also
Wow.
felt a
That's-
huge pressure from you guys.
Yeah.
So yes, we're coming 2024 with the men collection.
Definitely. Matteo, tell us, are we moving from futurism to, another thing? Tell us a little bit about
Yeah,
that.
it is probably. So next year it's going to be, I think you asked me about that and you actually gave me an inspiration
Yes.
about sustainability. And I told you, I still have, I told you the reason, but next year it's going to be about that. And I actually have started, the process of doing that. So next year it's about sustainability and yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Great.
Hope you guys will achieve all you want. I think sustainability was actually a huge mission this year. We have had so many conversations about it. Hope the designers can hop on it. It's really good.
Yeah.
We are protecting the environment. We are really being keen on what we put outside. So I think you also talked about it with your book and then what you said here. So I think this would actually be an amazing thing for designers to hop on and really just start being sustainable, but also start recycling some of outfits. Yeah, and I love what I'm wearing today. It's definitely giving some Izuba. Thank you for custom making and making this beautiful outfit that I'm wearing tonight in this beautiful fashion eye special edition. So give it up for you guys. I want you guys to clap hands to this beautiful audience from IPRS Kigali. Please give it up for yourself. Yes, thank you for coming and coming through. Thank you to the HOD behind there for putting this together. We really appreciate you guys. And thank you to Family Love for the beautiful artwork and the designers that came and showed up to this beautiful, I think this is a studio, definitely, a fashion studio.
Yeah, it is actually.
we are going there. So thank you guys for coming. Thank you to my panelists for accepting the invitation. It was really having you guys here.
Thank you
Nice
for the
being here.
invitation.
To the team of KC2 for putting this together, to the cameramans, the directors, everybody, the makeup artists, thank you guys for helping me for this show to come to life. So see you right next, it's definitely next year.
Yeah.
Next year.
It is next year.
God.
So see you next year, and my name is Christian Zoramba. This was The Fashion Eye.